Hi, I'm the Beauty Professor, and you can find my beauty blog at www.beautyprofessor.com. So this video is all about new. I'm trying a new lighting setup, a new background, and I'm dedicating this to a few new products that I've been finding myself using a great deal because I'm very impressed by their efficacy and their beauty. So let's get right to it. First things first, and I did a recent blog post on this, the Koh Gen Do Aqua Foundation Illuminator in sheer beige. I was fortunate enough to be able to try this recently. It comes in a pump applicator and it's designed to create a highlight without altering the shade of foundation you've chosen for that day. So here it is in just a tiny pump. I typically use a little bit more and apply it either with my foundation or right above it. And here it is sheared out. It just melts into the skin, but the luminosity that this gives is just significant. It's kind of a very pale rose gold. The fact that it's beige tinged means that it's not creating kind of a white cast on the face, and that's sometimes a risk with highlighters. It's a small enough bottle to toss in your makeup bag, and while I don't really find myself reapplying throughout the day, I like knowing that it's there. So I highly recommend that if you are into highlighters. Next is a powder blush by Illamasqua, and this powder blusher is called Kate. It's a pale baby pink, looks like this. And I have tried a few products from the Illamasqua line over the years, but I wouldn't say that I'm a devotee of every single product in the line. However, this pale blush is just something I've been going to a lot. Now, I know it looks daunting here, and I've swatched it heavily, and I'll put it here on my wrist. You can see it's not as chalky on the wrist. All I do is over a contour or a bronzer, I put a little bit of Kate on my brush because it's highly pigmented, and just buff it into the cheeks as I have right now. And you can see it actually creates a very believable baby pink on the face. It's not too chalky if you don't use a heavy hand, and it just melts into the skin. I like that it brightens up the face rather than depositing a ton of color, and it is totally appropriate for light to light medium skin tones. I can see this being a little more trepidatious with dark skin tones just because it is so pale on initial swatch. So that's my thoughts on the Illamasqua Katie. Another product I've been reaching for frequently is the By Terry Ultra Radiance Active Concealer. And I have it in shade number 5, which is Vanilla Beige. That's the shade name-wise that I wear in the Sheer Expert and in the Cover Expert for most of the year. And I would say that it's also closely aligned with the number 7 in the Denseless foundation, which I have reviewed on my blog. This is essentially a click type pen applicator concealer. It has the brush up here, and I have just swatched it right here on my wrist. You can see the shade that it is. It's great for light skin tones with yellow undertones, and I've recently just been wearing it under my eyes and for touch-ups throughout the day. So I would just apply it like this, just put a little bit under the eyes and blend in. It's got that silky texture we've come to expect from the By Terry base products line, and it does have that typical By Terry scent that I just absolutely love because it's so aligned with the beauty line itself. But it applies very smoothly without caking or getting dry over time. There are skincare properties in this particular concealer, and I have definitely noticed the difference because my eye stays balanced and comfortable all day long rather than feeling like it's drying out or migrating over time. So that is definitely an investment that's worthwhile. The Touch Expert Advance. The next product is one that I picked up last weekend, and I've been wearing it non-stop since then. It is the Chanel Illusion d'Ombre eyeshadow in shade number 827, which is Initiation. It's a new shade for the Chanel holiday collection, and I did pick up some other items from that collection, but I'm really excited about this shade. It's a very souffle-like cream shadow, and you can see It's just got immense, complex shimmer. I've read that this particular shade has way more shimmer than other shades in this formula, but I don't actually mind it. It's a kind of a cooler version of the By Terry Bronze Moon, which is I adore. I'm actually on unit number 4 of that, which should tell you how much it's just amazing. But I have it on the lids right now. It lasts without creasing. I apply it with a brush, and you can just see that it's kind of a champagne taupe with beautiful shimmer. I also like the fact that I can apply it in my under eye region without it getting too dark. And while the shimmer is there, it doesn't migrate in an obnoxious way. It basically stays put. It adheres to the skin where you apply it. So I am totally loving this Chanel cream eyeshadow in Initiation. And finally, I have procured a new powder, and I picked it up on a whim at the Sephora VIB sale. It's by Givenchy, and it is the Givenchy Croisiere Healthy Glow Powder, and I bought it in shade number 1, which I think is Premier Beige. Something with the word Premier in it, but it is shade 1. There's only one of those. It's got this very cool textured situation going on, and I'm sure that that will sadly go away as I continue to use it. I'd like to state right now that this particular powder is kind of along the line of the Chanel Les Beiges, and yet it's got a little more shimmer overall. It's meant to create kind of a bronzy, warm, healthy glow, but I've been using number 1 like a finishing and touch-up powder because it is so light. Allow me to swatch it on the wrist. I'll put it right next to the concealer, and I'm giving a rather heavy swatch here just so the camera will pick it up. You can see it's right there. It's very light. It's not a highlighting powder, but it's definitely too light to be any form of bronzer or warmth creator. And that was one of the complaints about shade number 1 that I found online, is that people said it's not doing anything to add color to my face even if I have light skin. So I'm not certain as to how great this would be as a bronzer, but as a finishing powder or a touch-up powder, it's quite amazing. I'd say the coverage is medium, buildable to medium, and it somehow adds a kind of mattifying element that still maintains a glow. So, and that's what I like with powder. I don't want a super powdery finish. I don't know anyone who does. So this is an interesting kind of accidental find with regards to being a good setting powder, though it's not marketed as such. Briefly on my lips, I just wanted to mention that I am wearing the Edward Bess limited edition lip color in Candid Affair, which is a part of the Edward Bess lip palette, which I have reviewed on my blog just recently. I love this peachy nude shade, and I wish it was sold by itself in a lipstick bullet, but it's not yet. So in the meanwhile, the palette will suffice, definitely. And that concludes the products that I have been enchanted by lately, new items I've procured that I continually gravitate towards. And I would love to hear your questions and comments on these items, if you've tried them, if you're interested in trying them. I hope you have found this video both interesting and helpful, and I warmly invite you to come visit me on my blog, Beauty Professor, which can be found at www.beautyprofessor.net. Take care.